Imagine a stranger showing up at Meghan Markle's front gate, screaming, "I am Archie's real mother." Today, that nightmare became Meghan and Harry's reality in Montecito. A woman has appeared, demanding to take young Archie back, claiming Meghan stole him from her. Who is this mysterious woman? Could there be any truth to her shocking claim? And how is Meghan reacting behind palace walls? Stay with us as we uncover the explosive details of a story that could shake the royal family to its core. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It's just past 8 o'clock on a quiet, sunlit morning in Montecito, California. The coastal breeze drifts lazily over terracotta rooftops and palm-lined streets, rustling the lush hedges guarding million-dollar mansions from curious eyes. For most people in this exclusive neighborhood, it's the start of another perfect day. Yoga classes, lattes at the organic cafe, the soft purr of Teslas rolling down winding drives. But for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, today is anything but normal. Because just beyond their security gates, a woman is screaming. "I am his mother," she yells, her voice ragged, echoing off stucco walls and manicured lawns. "I want my son back." And in that instant, the idyllic calm of Montecito is shattered. Neighbors peek from behind drawn blinds. Security guards stiffen, their radios crackling with urgent voices. Somewhere inside the mansion, Meghan's heart hammers in her chest. She's been the target of countless rumors, stories, and scandals. But this is something different. Because this woman is claiming that Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, Meghan's beloved firstborn child, is actually her son. Let that sink in for a second. Imagine someone showing up at your front gate, your sanctuary, insisting that your child isn't yours. That everything you thought you knew about your family, your life, your very identity, is a lie. It sounds like the plot of a thriller. But for Meghan Markle, on this otherwise ordinary California morning, it's suddenly her reality. So here's the big question. Is there any truth to this explosive claim? Or is it yet another in a long line of bizarre conspiracies that have haunted the Duke and Duchess of Sussex since the day they stepped into the public eye? Because make no mistake, there's a lot more to this story than one woman screaming outside a gate. Today, we're going to dive into every angle of this astonishing tale. Who is this mysterious woman? Why does she believe she's Archie's real mother? How has Meghan reacted behind the scenes? Is Prince Harry standing firm beside his wife, or privately terrified of the fallout? And perhaps the biggest question of all, could there possibly be any truth behind this woman's shocking accusation? But before we get there, let's take a breath. Let's rewind the tape for a moment and remember how we got here. Because Meghan Markle's journey from American actress to royal lightning rod is the stuff of modern legend. Once upon a time, Meghan was just another Hollywood actress, grinding out auditions, hoping for a big break. She found modest fame in Suits, playing the whip-smart Rachel Zane, and spent years living the hustle of red carpets, scripts, and LA traffic. Back then, no one could have predicted that she'd end up one half of the world's most talked-about couple. And then, like a modern-day fairy tale, Meghan met Prince Harry, the so-called heir to the British throne. Their romance was fast, intense, magnetic. The media fell in love, too, at first. Here was the narrative everyone wanted. A biracial American actress shaking up the British monarchy, injecting glamour and modernity into an ancient institution. But the glow didn't last. Pretty soon, the tabloids turned. Rumors multiplied like weeds. Headlines screamed about diva behavior, royal feuds, palace meltdowns. The couple spoke out about racism, the brutal weight of royal life, and mental health struggles. Then came the bombshell interviews. The royal exit. The split from Buckingham Palace. The move to America. And all the while, hovering quietly in the background of this royal soap opera, was Archie. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor was born in May of 2019, greeted by both royal watchers and global fans as the adorable bridge between old monarchy and new modernity. A new generation of royal. A symbol of change. But also, and this is crucial, a child whose life has been fiercely protected from the media glare. Harry and Meghan have been famously guarded about Archie. They've shown glimpses, a grainy black and white photo here, a soft-focus Christmas card there. But no regular public appearances. No royal balcony shots. No invasive paparazzi images. Just a family trying to shield a child from a world that can be cruel, intrusive, and merciless. So imagine how the very idea of someone claiming to be Archie's real mother would land with Meghan Markle. It's not just an insult. It's a threat to her family, to her motherhood, to her very sense of identity. And for a woman who's been fighting the tabloids for years, the idea that this claim might take root and spread like wildfire across the internet, well, it's the ultimate nightmare. So let's paint the picture again. It's morning in Montecito. Birds are chirping. A gentle fog is lifting over the Santa Ynez Mountains. And a woman stands outside Meghan and Harry's gated estate, pounding on the security intercom, insisting the royal family has stolen her child. The guards are tense. One tries to calm her down. Another calls the sheriff. Meanwhile, news of the incident is already leaking online. Within hours, tabloids are splashing lurid headlines across their front pages. Mystery woman claims Archie is hers. Montecito madness. Meghan's rage as secrets threaten to explode. And somewhere inside that sprawling Montecito mansion, Meghan is pacing the floor, phone clutched tight in her hand, trying to figure out how the hell this became her life. Because if there's one thing we know about Meghan Markle, it's this. She's protective. Fiercely protective. Of her image, yes. Of her marriage. But above all, of her children. The idea that someone could try to claim her child, to paint her as a fraud, is intolerable. Unthinkable. So let me ask you something. If you were Meghan, how would you react? Would you rush outside to confront this woman face to face? Would you hide behind palace lawyers? Would you sob? Scream? Plot your next public statement? And perhaps the bigger question, why is this woman doing this at all? Is she delusional? Desperate for fame? Or does she know something the rest of the world doesn't? This isn't just some random headline. This cuts to the very heart of identity, motherhood, and the cost of living life under a microscope. Because here's the thing, history has shown us that rumors about royal children aren't new. The British royal family has endured centuries of whispers about secret lovers, hidden heirs, illegitimate offspring. Sometimes those whispers fade away as nonsense. Sometimes they explode into scandal that changes everything. So is this just the latest chapter in a long royal tradition of conspiracy theories? Or is there a deeper truth lurking beneath the surface, a truth that could blow the lid off Meghan and Harry's carefully curated new life in California? Right now, no one knows for sure. Not even, perhaps, Meghan herself. But what we do know is this: the stakes are higher than ever. Because Meghan and Harry have spent years trying to craft a life away from the British tabloids. They fought for privacy, sued newspapers, cut off media outlets they believe have wronged them. They've built a bubble around their children, determined that Archie, and now his little sister, Lilibet, will grow up safe from the relentless glare of royal life. Yet all it takes is one screaming woman at the gates to threaten everything they've worked for. One voice, demanding answers. Demanding her child back. And here's the kicker. As bizarre as this claim sounds, the internet is primed to believe it. Because conspiracy culture is thriving. People are hungry for secret truths, hidden scandals, shocking revelations. In an age of social media, one wild claim can explode into a global firestorm overnight. Already, threads are lighting up on Reddit. Twitter hashtags are trending. YouTubers are scrambling to upload videos. Some people dismiss it all as nonsense. Others are breathlessly analyzing photos of Archie, pointing out imaginary proof that he looks nothing like Meghan. The digital rumor mill is spinning faster than ever. And if you're Meghan Markle, how do you fight back against that? Because once a rumor takes hold online, it's almost impossible to kill. It becomes a story that lives on forever, a shadow hanging over your name, your family, your child. So what happens now? What will Meghan do? What will Harry say? Is the palace stepping in? Are legal threats coming? Could this woman be arrested? Or could she, somehow, prove that her story is true? These are the questions we'll answer as we unravel the full story behind the woman at the Montecito gate. Because make no mistake, this is not just another royal scandal. This is a direct challenge to Meghan's very identity as a mother. And if there's one thing Meghan has proven over the years, it's that she won't go down without a fight. So buckle up, because this story is only getting started. And by the time we're done, you might see Meghan, Harry, and little Archie in a way you never have before. Before we try to untangle the chaos swirling around Meghan's Montecito gates, we need to understand the players in this royal drama. Because this isn't just any celebrity scandal. This involves two of the most scrutinized people on Earth, and a little boy whose very existence has become a global obsession. So let's rewind for a moment and take a closer look at exactly who we're dealing with here, and why the stakes are so high. First up, Meghan Markle. Once upon a time, Rachel Meghan Markle was a girl from Los Angeles. She grew up in California's sunshine, a mixed-race child navigating a world that didn't always know what to make of her. Her mother, Doria Ragland, a yoga instructor and social worker, raised her with a fierce sense of independence and purpose. Her father, Thomas Markle, worked in television lighting, giving Meghan her first glimpses into the world behind the cameras. From an early age, Meghan was ambitious. She was smart, articulate, driven. She landed a spot at Northwestern University, studied theater and international relations, and dreamed of being an actress. And for years, that's exactly what she was, a working actress, hustling from one audition to another, landing bit parts, smiling through the rejection that's part of Hollywood life. Then came Suits. Suits didn't make Meghan an A-list superstar, but it gave her a solid career. For 7 seasons, she played Rachel Zane, the sharp, ambitious paralegal who quickly became a fan favorite. The show filmed in Toronto, so Meghan split her life between the US and Canada, building her own brand of quiet celebrity. But even while she was working on Suits, Meghan was laying the groundwork for something bigger. She launched a lifestyle blog called The Tig, wrote about travel, food, fashion, and gave glimpses into her polished, aspirational world. She championed causes like gender equality, visited troops overseas, spoke at the UN. There were already hints that Meghan wanted her voice to matter on a bigger stage. And then, in 2016, the stage got a lot bigger. Because that's the year Meghan met Prince Harry. At the time, Harry was one of the world's most eligible bachelors, a soldier, a royal rebel, the cheeky younger son of Prince Charles and the late Princess Diana. Harry had always carried a unique burden. From childhood, he'd watched his mother suffer under relentless media scrutiny, hounded by paparazzi who chased her through tunnels and ultimately played a role in her tragic death. The press had painted Harry as a party prince, a wild child who sometimes drank too much and got into trouble. But there was always more to Harry, a soldier who served in Afghanistan, a man passionate about veterans' issues, mental health, and charity work. When Harry met Meghan, something clicked. The chemistry was instant. Meghan would later describe it as an amazing surprise. Harry said he knew this was it from the moment they met. At first, they kept their relationship secret. Private dates, quiet weekends together. But the media found out soon enough, and the story exploded. Suddenly, Meghan Markle was everywhere, on magazine covers, gossip blogs, news headlines. Reporters dissected her every move, from her clothes to her family background. And here's where things took a darker turn. It wasn't just celebrity gossip. The coverage often had an undercurrent of racism and classism. Some British tabloids referred to Meghan's exotic DNA. Articles hinted she was a gold digger. Others painted her as an ambitious actress scheming her way into royal life. Meanwhile, social media erupted with vile comments and conspiracy theories. Harry wasn't having it. In November 2016, he issued an extraordinary statement condemning the press for the wave of abuse and harassment directed at Meghan. He made it clear he was serious about her, and he would protect her. Fast forward to May 2018. The world tuned in as Meghan Markle walked down the aisle at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. She wore a stunning Da Vinci gown, her face serene but emotional. Harry waited at the altar, visibly choked up. The guest list was a who's who of royals, celebrities, and dignitaries. Gospel choirs sang. Bishop Michael Curry delivered a fiery sermon about love and justice. It was a royal wedding like no other, a symbol of modern Britain, multicultural and full of hope. Millions celebrated. But behind the scenes, the press pressure never let up. Stories of a feud between Meghan and Kate Middleton exploded in the tabloids. Headlines screamed about Meghan allegedly making Kate cry over bridesmaids' dresses, staff quitting because of Meghan's demands, and tensions between Harry and his brother William. Whether these stories were true, twisted, or total fabrication became almost impossible to parse. And then, in May 2019, Meghan and Harry welcomed their first child. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. Archie arrived amid a frenzy of speculation. Would he have a royal title? Would he be raised in the UK? What color would his skin be? Yes, some tabloids and online commenters fixated on that last question in ways that were grotesque and openly racist. Meghan and Harry, exhausted and disillusioned, started drawing lines. They limited photos, refused to parade Archie for the cameras, chose privacy over royal protocol. Eventually, everything boiled over. In early 2020, Harry and Meghan announced they were stepping back from royal duties. The press dubbed it Megxit, casting Meghan as the villain who tore Harry away from his family. The couple moved to Canada briefly, then settled in Montecito, California. They signed deals with Netflix and Spotify, gave interviews, sued tabloids, tried to tell their side of the story. Through it all, one thing remained crystal clear. Meghan and Harry were determined to protect Archie from the media circus that devoured Princess Diana. Which brings us back to the chaos outside the Montecito gates. Because if there's one line Meghan has drawn in the sand, it's her children. Archie is sacred, off limits, and now a stranger is claiming he's not really hers. Let's pause for a moment to consider who else is part of this story. There's Prince Harry. Harry is a man shaped by tragedy. Losing his mother at 12 years old left a wound that never fully healed. He's talked openly about the rage, confusion, and depression that followed. He spent decades battling the press, desperate to protect his loved ones from the same fate Diana suffered. But Harry's life has also been one of contradictions. He was once the prince caught wearing a Nazi costume at a party, the royal caught in embarrassing Vegas photos. Yet he's also the prince who created the Invictus Games for wounded veterans, who walks into war zones to shine a light on landmines, who embraces children in Africa with genuine warmth. Harry's entire adult life has been a push and pull between duty and rebellion, between the family he was born into and the life he wants to build on his own terms. So when this woman shows up, screaming that Archie is hers, it doesn't just threaten Meghan. It threatens Harry's entire reason for leaving royal life in the first place, to protect his family. Then there's the woman at the gate. We'll dive much deeper into her story later, but for now, know this. Her arrival changes everything. She's not just a random protester. She's a potential spark for the next royal scandal. Whether she's delusional, manipulative, or genuinely convinced she's telling the truth, she's forced Meghan and Harry back into the global spotlight they've been trying to escape. And let's not forget the press. The British tabloids have always loved a royal scandal. It's like catnip. For decades, they've profited off whispers of infidelity, secret love children, feuds, and betrayals. A woman claiming to be the real mother of Archie? That's front-page gold. It's clicks, sales, viral videos. Whether the story is true or not almost doesn't matter. The damage is done the moment the headline drops. Then there's the public. The royal family has a special place in people's imaginations. It's tradition, spectacle, soap opera, and fairy tale all rolled into one. People feel invested in these lives they'll never personally touch. They pick sides. They fight on social media. They devour every detail. And when a rumor like this hits the internet, the lines between fact and fiction blur almost instantly. So when we talk about the players in this story, we're not just talking about Meghan, Harry, or the mysterious woman at the gate. We're talking about millions of people all over the world, each with their own opinions, biases, and fantasies about the royals. And that's what makes this story so dangerous and so compelling. Because at the heart of it lies a child, Archie Harrison, an innocent little boy caught between palace walls and tabloid pages. A child whose existence has been politicized, scrutinized, and obsessed over since the day he was born. For Meghan, Archie isn't just her son. He's her line in the sand. Her reason for walking away from royalty. Her most sacred secret. The thought of someone else laying claim to him, someone standing outside her house, screaming that he's theirs, is a level of violation most of us can barely imagine. So as we continue this story, remember this. We're not just talking about celebrities or gossip. We're talking about identity, family, race, mental health, power. It's early morning in Montecito, California, that affluent coastal enclave where rolling hills meet ocean breezes and the streets are lined with Spanish-style mansions hidden behind hedges taller than most people. The sun has barely begun to climb over the Santa Ynez Mountains, casting a warm, pink glow across the stucco walls and terracotta rooftops. Normally, this is a place of silence and serenity. The only sounds are the distant roar of the Pacific or the low hum of gardeners tending endless gardens. But not today. Today, they're shouting at the gates of one of Montecito's most closely guarded homes, the home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. A woman stands there, pacing, hair disheveled, her clothes wrinkled as though she's been sleeping in them or perhaps driven all night to get here. Her eyes are wide, red-rimmed, burning with some combination of fury and desperation. And she's screaming, "I am his mother. I want my son back. You can't keep him from me." Security guards, normally so discreet they're practically invisible, are now clustered at the wrought iron gates. 2 men and a woman, all wearing dark suits and earpieces, stand between the stranger and the intercom system linked to the house. They keep their distance, but watch her hands, her movements. No one's taking any chances. The woman tries to shove past them, clutching a dog-eared folder of papers, waving them frantically. "Let me see Meghan. Tell her I'm here. She knows who I am." A neighbor, walking a perfectly groomed golden retriever, stops dead in her tracks. She's seen paparazzi lurking around the Sussex home before. But this is something entirely new. She pulls out her phone, hits record, and captures the stranger's words in shaky video. Inside the gates, an SUV idles. A driver looks anxious, glancing toward the mansion as though waiting for instructions. A gardener nearby straightens, rake in hand, caught between curiosity and the fear of losing his job if he so much as looks the wrong way. "Ma'am, you need to calm down," one of the guards says, voice low and measured. But the woman is beyond calming down. Her voice cracks as she yells, tears starting to streak her face. "They took him from me. Archie is mine. I have the proof." She thrusts the folder forward, shoving it into the chest of the nearest security guard. He takes it gently, as though handling a live grenade. Inside are sheets of paper, some official-looking, others scribbled in blue pen, some pages dog-eared and stained with coffee rings. Another guard speaks quietly into his radio, murmuring something about code red and possible 5150, the California code for someone who may be mentally unstable and a danger to themselves or others. In a command center inside the mansion, a security supervisor watches the woman on a bank of video screens. He keys his microphone. "Get the sheriff on the line. Now." Meanwhile, the neighbor's video is already hitting the internet. Before the authorities even arrive, it's posted on TikTok, captioned, "Woman claims Archie is her son at Meghan and Harry's house." Within 20 minutes, the clip racks up over 200,000 views. Comments flood in. Some people are horrified, others gleeful. Is this woman crazy, or is there a secret Meghan's hiding? OMG, I knew it. Archie doesn't look like Meghan at all. People need to leave them alone. This is going to be bigger than Diana. Inside the mansion, Meghan Markle stands frozen. She's been alerted immediately. A member of the security team quietly entered the kitchen where Meghan was pouring cereal for Archie. He leaned in close and murmured into her ear. Instantly, the calm of the morning evaporated. Harry, too, is informed almost at once. He's in the upstairs office, working on his latest documentary project. His face turns pale. He slams his laptop shut and races downstairs. Both Meghan and Harry know the stakes. Because it's not just about a screaming woman outside their gate. It's about the possibility that this becomes tomorrow's tabloid headline. Or worse, a conspiracy theory that haunts them forever. Meghan's mind races. Is this some unhinged fan? Is this a publicity stunt? Could it be blackmail? But one thought keeps coming back, pounding through her chest. Archie. Whatever else happens, Archie cannot be dragged into this madness. Meanwhile, outside, the woman paces in circles, clutching at her hair. "I have birth records," she screams. "DNA tests. Ask Meghan about me." The guard holding her folder opens it cautiously. He scans a few pages. There's a blurry copy of a birth certificate, but it lists names that don't match the royal records. Other papers are handwritten letters, addressed to "my son, Archie." There's also a dog-eared photograph showing the woman in a hospital gown, holding a newborn baby. But the photo is faded, indistinct. It could be any infant. One guard sighs, closes the folder gently, and tries again to reason with her. "Ma'am, can you please tell us your name?" She stares at him, trembling. "You know who I am," she whispers. A patrol car finally arrives, lights flashing, tires crunching on gravel. Two sheriff's deputies get out, approaching slowly, palms raised in a calming gesture. They start asking gentle questions. "Ma'am, why do you believe this child is yours? Do you have anyone we can call for you?" But the woman only repeats the same words, over and over, like a broken record. "I am his mother. Meghan knows. Archie is mine." At this point, the situation becomes delicate. Under California law, someone who appears mentally unstable and poses a risk to themselves or others can be placed under a 72-hour psychiatric hold, a 5150. But the deputies are hesitant. She's not violent, just distraught. And technically, she hasn't committed a crime. Inside the gates, Harry and Meghan stand at an upstairs window, peeking through sheer curtains. Harry's jaw is tight. Meghan clasps his arm. She wants to go out there herself, confront the woman, demand answers. But Harry shakes his head firmly. Let security handle it, he says. But Meghan's not so sure. Part of her wants to scream right back. How dare you say Archie isn't mine? How dare you stand outside my home and try to rip my family apart? The deputies continue questioning the woman. One gently guides her to a bench near the gates, trying to move her away from the cameras that have started arriving. Because yes, within the hour, local news vans are pulling up. Reporters with microphones and cameras are jockeying for position, hoping to catch a glimpse of Meghan, Harry, or even the mysterious woman who might become the next viral sensation. The woman, exhausted, finally sits. Her voice drops to a near whisper. I carried him for 9 months. I felt him kick. I named him. Meghan took him from me. Please, just let me see my son. She breaks down sobbing, hands covering her face. One of the deputies places a gentle hand on her shoulder. Another walks back to the patrol car, likely calling for mental health professionals. Meanwhile, the gate is now barricaded. Guards block the view, speaking urgently into radios. Harry and Meghan retreat from the window, vanishing into the privacy of their mansion's interior corridors. But there's no hiding from what's already begun. By the time lunch rolls around, headlines have exploded across the globe. Meghan confronted by woman claiming to be Archie's mother. Royal drama at Montecito gates. Is Archie Harrison the center of a shocking paternity mystery? Some outlets run the footage from the neighbor's TikTok. Others embellish it, adding lurid speculation. Talk shows debate it. Online forums dissect every detail. Harry's advisors scramble to craft a statement. Meghan's phone buzzes nonstop. Her team in Los Angeles tries to do damage control. And inside the Montecito mansion, Meghan paces. She glances upstairs where Archie is playing, blissfully unaware of the storm raging outside. Her eyes fill with tears. Because this isn't just another tabloid story. It's an attack on her most sacred role, mother. Back at the gate, the woman continues weeping. Deputies gently help her stand. They guide her toward the patrol car, murmuring soothing words. The folder of papers remains in a deputy's hand. As she's led away, she cries out one last time. Archie, Mommy's coming for you. And with that, the car door closes, shutting out her voice. But the echoes of her words hang in the summer air, trembling like a struck bell. Inside the mansion, Meghan sits down hard in a kitchen chair. She's shaking. Harry hovers beside her. Neither speaks for a moment. Finally, Meghan whispers, this can't be happening. But it is. And for Meghan, the worst part isn't just that a woman appeared at her gates. It's that the world is now wondering, even for a second, whether the woman's claims might be true. Because once the rumor is out there, it's almost impossible to kill. And for Meghan Markle, that might be the most terrifying part of all. She has become, overnight, one of the most talked about women on the internet. A mysterious figure who appeared like a phantom at Meghan and Harry's gates, shattering the quiet luxury of Montecito with her screams. But who is she? Who is this woman claiming that Archie Harrison Mountbatten-Windsor, the cherished son of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, is in fact her biological child? To answer that, we need to sift through fragments of information, conflicting reports, rumors, and a growing mountain of speculation that has already wrapped her identity in a swirling cloud of mystery. At the time of her dramatic appearance outside the Sussex home, very little was publicly known. The initial reports described her simply as a woman in her 30s or 40s, with dark hair, wearing jeans, and a rumpled t-shirt. Witnesses said she seemed distraught but determined. Local sheriff's deputies refused to release her name, citing privacy and potential mental health concerns. Yet, in the relentless ecosystem of internet sleuths, it didn't take long for people to start piecing together clues. First came the neighbor's viral TikTok video. Viewers examined every frame, zooming in on her face, her gestures, even the writing on the folder she waved at the gates. They shared screenshots on Reddit and Twitter, speculating about her identity. Soon, unconfirmed names began circulating online. One name, in particular, surfaced again and again, an American woman named Cassandra Blake. Was this the woman outside Meghan's gates? Public records show that Cassandra Blake, age 38, grew up in Southern California, roughly 90 minutes from Los Angeles. She attended a local high school, then reportedly bounced between community colleges before dropping out. People who claimed to know her describe her as quiet, shy, someone who mostly kept to herself. But several years ago, according to online traces, Cassandra became deeply obsessed with the British royal family. There are hints scattered across old social media accounts, comments on royal fan pages, posts in Facebook groups, and threads on conspiracy forums. In these posts, Cassandra writes about Meghan Markle and Harry, expressing a mix of admiration and bitterness. One post from 4 years ago reads, "I feel like Meghan stole the life that was supposed to be mine." Another, dated around Archie's birth, says, "No one would believe me if I told them the truth about that baby." Most people reading those posts probably dismiss them as the rantings of a passionate fan or a conspiracy theorist. But in the light of recent events, they've taken on a chilling new significance. So who is Cassandra Blake, and why does she believe Archie is her child? In the folder she shoved into the security guard's chest, there were a series of documents she insisted proved her claim. According to deputies who briefly examined the paperwork, these included a faded photograph of Cassandra in a hospital gown, holding a newborn, a copy of what she said was Archie's birth certificate, but with her name listed as the mother, several handwritten letters addressed to my son, Archie, a page scrawled with what appeared to be dates and hospital names, a few legal-looking documents, though the writing was largely illegible and certain parts blacked out with marker. Authorities are still investigating whether any of these documents are genuine or fabricated. Early indications suggest at least some of them are either altered or simply incorrect. For instance, the birth certificate she presented didn't match official UK records, and the hospital she named St. Anne's Medical Center in Los Angeles has no record of Meghan Markle delivering a baby there, because Meghan gave birth to Archie in London. But Cassandra appears to believe in her story completely. Witnesses describe her as alternating between fury and heartbreak. One of the deputies later told a reporter, anonymously, "She was sobbing 1 minute, then screaming the next. She kept saying she carried Archie for 9 months, that Meghan took him from her. She was adamant she had proof." Even more unsettling are reports that Cassandra has tried to contact Harry and Meghan before. Sources close to the couple say she's sent letters, some pleading, some threatening. There's talk of social media messages, although the Sussex's team has not confirmed this publicly. A former neighbor of Cassandra's, interviewed by a local TV station, described her as polite but increasingly unstable in recent years. She kept talking about Meghan Markle, the neighbor said. She'd say stuff like, "She's living my life." And then when the baby was born, she started saying the baby was hers. We all thought she was having some kind of mental health crisis. Internet sleuths have unearthed postings in conspiracy forums suggesting that Cassandra believes she was part of a secret surrogacy deal. In one long, rambling Reddit thread from 2 years ago, someone using the handle Royal Truth Seeker 88 claims, "They told me it would be confidential. They paid me. I carried him. But then they cut me off. Now the world thinks Meghan is the mother. She's not. Archie is mine." There's no confirmed link proving Royal Truth Seeker 88 is Cassandra Blake, but the writing style, the dates, and the story's details seem eerily consistent with her recent public outburst. Of course, surrogacy rumors about Meghan Markle have been swirling online for years. It's one of the darker undercurrents of her time in the royal family, a conspiracy theory clung to by certain corners of the internet that insists Meghan never carried Archie herself. The speculation reached fever pitch when Meghan's pregnancy photos were scrutinized obsessively. People picked apart every angle of her baby bump, suggesting it was too small, too big, too low, too high. Some claimed it folded unnaturally when she sat down, proving it was a fake belly. Royal experts and reputable media outlets have debunked these claims repeatedly. But conspiracy theories don't die easily, especially not in the social media age. They mutate, evolve, and latch onto any new piece of information. And now, Cassandra's appearance at Meghan's gate has poured gasoline on those smoldering embers. Journalists are racing to piece together Cassandra's past. A few managed to track down a woman who claims to be her distant cousin. Speaking anonymously, she tells a Los Angeles reporter, "Cassie's always had issues. She gets ideas in her head and won't let go. I love her, but she's been through a lot. I don't know where she got this idea about Meghan. It's crazy." Mental health professionals weighing in on TV interviews warn the public not to jump to conclusions. One psychologist explains, "People struggling with certain delusional disorders can firmly believe they've lived experiences that never happened. It's absolutely real to them, even if it's factually impossible." But Cassandra's story doesn't entirely fit into a neat box. Some of her claims are oddly specific. For instance, she's told deputies and reporters that her due date matched Archie's actual birth date. She also insists she was offered hush money by people connected to the royals. Of course, there's no evidence any of this is true. It's entirely possible that Cassandra's narrative is built on coincidental dates and a deep emotional fixation. Yet, the possibility, however remote, that she might be telling even a sliver of truth has fueled public obsession. Because let's be honest, a woman claiming to be Archie's real mother is a story that seems tailor-made for tabloids, talk shows, YouTubers, and Twitter threads. It taps into every juicy angle: royalty, conspiracy, celebrity, mental health, and scandal. So far, Meghan and Harry's team has refused to comment publicly on Cassandra's identity. A brief statement from their spokesperson simply said, "This is a private matter, and we ask for respect for the family's privacy." But behind the scenes, sources say Meghan is both furious and terrified. Furious that someone would publicly try to strip her of her role as a mother. Terrified of how far this woman might go and how far the story might spread. Meanwhile, legal experts have begun weighing in. Several lawyers have told media outlets that even if Cassandra truly believes her claims, she'd face an almost impossible legal battle. One family law attorney in Los Angeles explained, "Unless she can produce concrete evidence, DNA tests, official records, there's no court in California or the UK that would entertain this. But the damage comes from the rumor itself, not any real legal threat." Still, there's an undeniable human tragedy at the core of Cassandra's story. Whether she's a con artist, deeply mentally ill, or genuinely convinced of her story, she's a person whose life has collided violently with one of the world's most famous families. Local law enforcement has confirmed that Cassandra was taken in for a mental health evaluation following her appearance at the gates. Whether she remains under psychiatric care has not been disclosed for privacy reasons. The sheriff's department has also declined to confirm her name, citing health confidentiality laws. But that hasn't stopped the public from speculating and, in many cases, attacking Cassandra online. Some call her a stalker. Others brand her a liar. A few believe she's telling the truth and is the victim of a vast cover-up. Her name, if indeed Cassandra Blake is the correct name, has become radioactive almost overnight. Meanwhile, old social media accounts that might have belonged to her have been shut down or made private. Journalists report being stonewalled when trying to contact her family. A former co-worker at a small retail shop in Ventura County told a TV station, "She was quiet, sweet, even, but sometimes she'd start talking about how she was connected to famous people. None of us believed her. We thought it was just fantasies." Yet, another co-worker claimed, "About 3 years ago, she told me she was pregnant and that the baby was going to be famous. I thought it was weird, but didn't ask more." It's anecdotes like these that keep fueling curiosity. Because even if 99% of Cassandra's story seems improbable, there's always that sliver of doubt that some people cling to. And the internet thrives on slivers of doubt. There's another wrinkle to Cassandra's background. Court documents show that she was once involved in a minor legal dispute involving unpaid medical bills around 2019, the same year Archie was born. In those records, Cassandra claimed she had significant medical expenses due to a complicated pregnancy. The documents don't name a child, nor do they link to the royal family. But conspiracy theorists have seized on this, calling it proof that Cassandra's pregnancy timeline aligns suspiciously with Meghan's. Again, there's no real evidence tying these dots together. A complicated pregnancy could mean anything, but it's enough to keep certain corners of the internet buzzing. Meanwhile, Meghan's team is reportedly combing through Cassandra's history. A source close to the Sussexes tells a reputable British paper, "They're trying to understand if this woman has ever had direct contact with Meghan, whether any personal information might have leaked that she's exploiting. They're worried she could escalate." Because for Meghan, it's not just the fear of rumors. It's the fear of an obsessed stranger showing up again, or worse, trying to get closer to Archie. Security experts have warned that incidents like this are precisely why public figures must maintain strict security. One former royal protection officer said in a TV interview, "This woman might be a harmless fantasist, but she could also pose a real threat. The line between delusion and dangerous action can be very thin." This fear has led to heightened security at the Sussex mansion. Additional patrols, more surveillance, and reportedly even discussions about relocating temporarily. Meanwhile, Meghan has been left to grapple with the emotional fallout. Insiders describe her as deeply shaken, particularly because the claim strikes at her core identity. One friend, speaking anonymously, said, "For Meghan, being a mother is everything. To have someone stand at your gate and scream that you stole your child, it's horrifying. She's terrified people might believe it." And that's precisely why Cassandra's story is so potent. Because even if every word is false, the damage is real. Once a rumor like this takes hold, it becomes almost impossible to erase. So who is Cassandra Blake? Depending on whom you ask, she's a woman in desperate need of mental health care, a cunning opportunist looking for attention or financial gain, a tragic figure genuinely convinced she's Archie's biological mother, or, for the conspiracy-minded, the key to a royal secret that could shake the monarchy. But there's one truth no one can deny. Cassandra has become the unwitting catalyst for yet another royal storm. And as Meghan and Harry try to protect their son from the world's glare, Cassandra's cries at the gates of Montecito have ensured that, for better or worse, Archie Harrison is once again at the center of a global obsession. From the moment Meghan Markle heard the words, a woman screaming outside the gates of her Montecito home, insisting she was Archie's mother, something inside her snapped. She'd been through a lot in her life. The tabloids, the royal exit, lawsuits, family betrayals splashed across global headlines. But this was different. This wasn't just about her reputation. This wasn't just about gossip columns. This was about her child. Those who know Meghan say her first reaction was an almost primal fury. Her entire body went rigid, said one close friend, who has spoken to Meghan in the days since the incident. She's dealt with lies before. She's dealt with attacks on her character. But to have someone show up at her home, claiming Archie isn't hers, that's crossing a line she will never tolerate. The moment security informed her, Meghan was standing in the kitchen. She'd just poured a bowl of cereal for Archie. The sun was streaming through the big picture window over the sink, bathing the room in soft California light. But when the words reached her ears, "There's a woman at the gate claiming to be Archie's real mother," the brightness seemed to vanish, replaced by a cold, buzzing silence. Meghan set down the cereal box. Her hands trembled slightly. She felt her stomach twist into a hard knot. Inside her mind, thoughts came crashing like waves. Who is this woman? Is Archie safe? Are the paparazzi already there? Will this become another headline I'll have to fight? She rushed to the security monitor, eyes wide, heart hammering. The feed showed a woman pacing at the gates, hair wild, waving papers and shouting, "I want my son back," the woman screamed. "I am his mother." Meghan's first instinct was to run outside, to confront the woman herself. She wanted to tell her to leave, to scream that Archie was her son, to defend her family with every ounce of strength she had. But Harry grabbed her arm. "Meg, no. Let security handle this," he said. But Meghan was shaking. "She felt caged," said another friend. "Her whole identity is wrapped up in being Archie's mom. To have someone try to rip that away, it made her want to fight." Instead, Meghan stood frozen, staring at the video feed. She watched the woman flailing her arms, watched security trying to calm her, watched deputies arrive. And a single thought consumed her. People are going to believe this. Because Meghan knows the game. She's lived it for years. She knows that the mere existence of a rumor can be enough to stain a reputation forever. She thought about the headlines that were coming. The social media posts, the hashtags, the YouTube conspiracy videos dissecting Archie's baby photos, insisting he doesn't look like her. It wasn't just a woman at her gates. It was the threat of a rumor that could follow Archie for the rest of his life. And Meghan wasn't about to let that happen. Behind closed doors, those close to her described Meghan going through a roller coaster of emotions in the hours after the incident. First came the rage. She was furious, said a member of her staff, pacing the room, talking a mile a minute. She kept saying, "How dare she? How dare anyone say Archie isn't mine?" Her voice rose as she spoke. She slammed her palm on the kitchen counter, rattling a stack of ceramic bowls. Harry tried to calm her, urging her to breathe, to focus on Archie's safety. But Meghan was laser-focused on the woman outside the gate. She wanted answers. Who is she? Meghan demanded. Why is she doing this? How did she even get here? Does she have help? Harry tried to soothe her, telling her it was likely just a disturbed person seeking attention. But Meghan wasn't convinced. This is how it starts, she said. One crazy claim. Then it becomes a headline. Then it's a YouTube video. And then people think it's true. Then came fear. Because beneath Meghan's fury was something more vulnerable, pure, bone-deep fear. Fear for Archie's safety. Fear for her own safety. Fear that the trauma she'd endured in Britain was now following her to California. She said, "I thought we'd escape this," the friend recalled. "I thought Montecito would be safe." For Meghan, Montecito was supposed to be a fortress, a sanctuary, a place where she could raise Archie and Lilibet without cameras lurking behind every bush, where the neighbors were discreet millionaires, not tabloid reporters. Now even that felt violated. At one point, Meghan pulled Harry aside and whispered, "Is it possible? Could there be some mistake?" Harry looked at her sharply. "Meg, no. Archie is our son. Don't let this woman get inside your head." But Meghan couldn't help it. "She's a mother," said the friend. "Even when you know the truth, when someone accuses you of not being your child's mother, it plants a seed of doubt. Not because it's true, but because it's so monstrous to imagine." And then there was the worry about Archie himself. Though he was too young to understand what was happening, Meghan knew children pick up on tension. She kept saying, "I don't want Archie to feel like there's something wrong with him, like he doesn't belong." Meghan's maternal instincts were in overdrive. She ordered security to tighten protocols immediately. No one in or out without triple checks. Surveillance cameras checked and rechecked. Patrols doubled. Meanwhile, Meghan was already thinking ahead to how to kill the story before it spread. She called advisors in Los Angeles, asking, "How do we stop this rumor before it grows?" But the advisors were blunt. "You can't," one said. "The video's already online. It's going viral." So Meghan pivoted. If she couldn't stop the rumor, she would prepare to fight it. In the hours following the incident, Meghan's team began assembling a strategy. Legal options were discussed. Statements were drafted. Potential defamation suits were weighed. "She wanted to release a statement immediately," said the staffer. Harry urged caution. He said sometimes responding just fuels the fire. But Meghan was adamant. She said, "Silence is how these rumors grow. I'm not going to let people think I'm hiding something." Despite her anger, Meghan understood the delicate dance of public relations. She knew an overly emotional statement could backfire. She wanted her words to be measured but firm. She wanted to say, "I am Archie's mother." End of story. But there was also exhaustion creeping in. A deep weariness from years of battling public perception. Later that afternoon, Meghan retreated to the master bedroom. She closed the door, pulled the curtains, and sat on the edge of the bed. She just stared at the floor, the friend said. For the first time all day, she went quiet. Harry sat beside her, taking her hand. Neither spoke, because there was nothing left to say. The incident had happened. The rumor was out there. The damage was already beginning. Eventually, Meghan stood and walked over to Archie's room. She peeked inside. He was sitting on the floor, stacking wooden blocks, babbling to himself. He looked up and smiled. And in that moment, something in Meghan seemed to settle. She realized the only thing that matters is Archie himself, said the friend. Not the rumors, not the headlines, just her son. She knelt beside Archie, wrapped her arms around him, and whispered, "Mommy's here. No one's taking you away." But even as she hugged him, Meghan knew this was far from over. The woman outside the gate might have been escorted away, but her words were echoing across the internet, whispered into phones, splashed across headlines. And Meghan understood better than anyone how dangerous words could be. By nightfall, Meghan was on a conference call with legal advisors, discussing defamation laws in both the United States and the UK. She was calm but resolute. She said, "If we let this go, it'll never stop. Next it'll be Lily. And then something else. We have to shut this down." Her team began working on a statement that could be released if the rumors gained further traction. Meanwhile, Meghan reached out to a few trusted journalists, off the record, trying to ensure any coverage would at least be balanced. She wanted the world to know how absurd the claim was, how deeply it had hurt her, and how dangerous it was to let such rumors fester. But Meghan also knew she couldn't let herself become consumed by anger. She had Archie and Lilibet to think of. She had Harry. She had a life she was trying so hard to build. By midnight, Meghan was emotionally drained. She crawled into bed beside Harry, pulled the covers up, and lay staring at the ceiling. She kept whispering, "I'm his mother. I'm his mother," said the friend. It was like she was trying to convince herself that the world couldn't take that away from her. Outside, the California night was silent again. The gates were locked. The security lights cast long shadows across the driveway. But Meghan knew the silence was temporary, because tomorrow, the world would still be asking questions. And Meghan Markle was ready to fight for her son, no matter what it took. While Meghan was riding a storm of anger and fear, Prince Harry was reacting in his own way, quieter, but no less intense. From the moment Harry was told that a woman was at his gate screaming about Archie, he felt a familiar chill down his spine. It was a feeling he'd known since he was a boy, the sharp stab of panic that came whenever his private world crashed into the headlines. People often imagine Harry as the fun-loving prince, the joker of the royal family, the man who laughs too loudly and loves a pint. And yes, that's part of who he is. But there's another Harry, the one who still carries the trauma of flashing cameras, hounding press, and a mother chased into a Paris tunnel. So when security told him, "Sir, there's a woman outside claiming she's Archie's mother," Harry felt himself instantly transported back to every moment he's tried to keep the world from swallowing his family whole. Sources close to the couple say Harry's first reaction was shock, quickly followed by icy calm. "He has this switch," said one longtime friend. "In a crisis, he goes cold. It's like he steps outside himself. He focuses on protecting his family." When Harry reached the kitchen where Meghan stood frozen, staring at the security feed, he immediately stepped between her and the screen. "Don't look," he told her gently. "Let them deal with it." But Meghan pushed past him, needing to see for herself. Harry tried to stay composed, but his own fear was simmering under the surface. Inside his head, memories began flooding back. He remembered walking behind his mother's coffin, cameras clicking with every step. He remembered headlines screaming about his teenage mistakes. He remembered trying to take a young Meghan to events only to see how quickly the press could turn savage. And now, his son was the target. Harry clenched his fist so tightly that his knuckles went white. A close aide later said. Harry was livid, not just at the woman, but at the idea that anyone could dare question Archie's place in the world. He felt it was an attack on everything he'd fought for since leaving the royal family. Because make no mistake, Harry's entire break from royal life was, at its core, about protecting his family. From the beginning, Harry has been the one sounding the alarm about the damage the press can do. He's spoken again and again about how the media helped destroy his mother's life, and how he refused to let history repeat itself with Meghan and their children. So when a stranger turned up, screaming that Archie wasn't his child, Harry saw more than just a single crazy incident. He saw the spark of the next media wildfire. He kept saying, "They're going to run with this. They're going to turn this into something bigger," said the friend. He was already imagining the headlines, the conspiracy theories. But while Meghan's instinct was to confront the problem head-on, Harry's instinct was to shield, to build walls. "Lock it down," he told his security team. "No one gets near the house. Double the perimeter checks. I want eyes on every corner." He paced back and forth, giving orders in the clipped, precise tone he once used in the army. Because Harry may be the prince who danced in Las Vegas, but he's also the prince who served 2 tours in Afghanistan. In a crisis, he becomes the soldier again. But despite his outward calm, Harry's emotions were boiling under the surface. Several times that morning, he pulled Meghan into quiet corners of the house. He whispered to her, trying to keep her from rushing outside. He spoke softly, but his voice carried a hard edge. "Don't give them a scene, Meg. That's what they want." He kept his arms around her, steadying her whenever she started to shake with rage. But Harry was shaking too. At one point, he slammed his palm against a wooden doorframe so hard that a small crack splintered through the paint. He said, "I've had enough of this. Enough of people thinking they can say whatever they want about my family," the friend recalled. But alongside the anger, there was a deep sadness in Harry, because he knows how quickly a rumor can consume the public imagination. He's watched it happen to himself, to Meghan, to his mother. He remembers the tabloids printing wild stories about his paternity, about James Hewitt, about how he supposedly wasn't Charles's son. Those rumors were baseless, cruel, and deeply painful. And now someone was trying to put his son through the same hell. He kept muttering, "They're going to do to Archie what they did to me," said a source. "That's his worst nightmare." Harry's protective instinct kicked into overdrive. He demanded that all footage of the incident be secured and locked away from leaking further. He instructed his lawyers to begin researching legal avenues, slander, defamation, harassment. But even as he moved into crisis mode, Harry was painfully aware that the damage might already be done. Later that afternoon, as news helicopters buzzed overhead, Harry pulled one of his most trusted security officers aside. "Could she come back?" Harry asked. The guard nodded grimly. "Yes, sir. If she's obsessed enough, she could try again." Harry went pale. "Then we keep Archie inside," he said. "No walks outside for a while. No beach. No outings. Meghan, listening nearby, protested. But we can't live like prisoners, Harry. Harry turned to her, eyes fierce. I will do whatever it takes to keep Archie safe, even if it means we stay inside for a year. This is Harry's paradox. He longs for normalcy. To take his son for ice cream, to walk in the park without photographers hiding in bushes. But when reality crashes in, he defaults to fortress mode. Because Harry has learned, over and over, that the cost of a single rumor can be catastrophic. Friends say Harry also worried about Meghan's mental health in the aftermath. He remembered all too vividly how close she came to the brink in London, how dark her thoughts had turned under the constant attacks. He was terrified this would push her over the edge, the friend said. He kept asking, is she okay? Is she really okay? Harry made calls to their therapists and mental health advisors. He insisted Meghan speak to someone that very day, even if just to talk through the shock. Because Harry knows that while they can sue tabloids, upgrade security, and issue public statements, the real battle is inside their own heads. The fear, the anxiety, the scars left behind by years of relentless scrutiny. But alongside the fear, Harry's resolve was solidifying into steel. By that evening, he was meeting with legal advisors, plotting their next moves. He wanted to ensure that if this woman tried to go public again, with interviews, book deals, social media videos, they would be ready to shut it down. He said, I will not let this become Archie's story. He's just a little boy. He doesn't deserve this, the source said. Harry also reached out to friends in the media world, urging them not to sensationalize the incident. A few editors agreed to tread lightly. But Harry knew the story was too explosive to disappear entirely. So he focused on what he could control. He scheduled meetings with security consultants. He demanded background checks on the woman. He requested digital monitoring to detect if she tried to leak any videos or documents online. Because for Harry, this wasn't just a crazy woman at the gate. It was a threat to the life he'd sacrificed everything to build. And he wasn't about to let it go unanswered. Late that night, after hours of calls and consultations, Harry finally sat alone in the darkened living room. The house was quiet except for the occasional chirp of crickets outside. He scrolled through his phone, reading tweets and online comments. Some were supportive. Leave Meghan and Harry alone. This woman is clearly unwell. But others made Harry's blood run cold. I bet Archie really isn't hers. Meghan's always been a liar. Time for a DNA test. Harry tossed his phone onto the couch, leaning forward, burying his face in his hands. Because this is the truth Harry knows too well. In the digital age, it doesn't matter whether a rumor is true. It just matters that people believe it. And Harry was determined, with everything in him, that the world would know one thing above all else. Archie is his son. Meghan is his mother. And no one, not a screaming stranger, not a headline, not a conspiracy theory, was ever going to tear his family apart. Security has always been tied around Harry and Meghan's estate, but now it shifted into an entirely new gear. Because when a stranger shows up screaming that your child isn't yours and waving documents that might or might not be real, it's no longer just about privacy. It's about safety for your family and everyone around you. Immediately after the incident, Harry and Meghan's head of security gathered the team for an emergency briefing. They sat in a sleek control room tucked into a corner of the sprawling estate, facing rows of monitors displaying every angle of the property. A guard with a clipboard went down the list, his voice clipped and precise. All gates on lockdown. Double verification for any entry, including deliveries. Increase perimeter patrols from 2 vehicles to 4. Random route checks every hour. Another guard chimed in. Drones are now restricted within a 2-mile radius. Any unauthorized drone sighted is to be reported and, if necessary, intercepted. Even before this incident, the Sussexes lived under an intense security regime. Their property was ringed with high stone walls and dense hedges. Surveillance cameras kept constant watch. Entry gates were manned 24/7 by ex-military personnel trained to identify threats. But now, the protocols grew stricter. Treat this as a potential ongoing threat, said the head of security. We don't know if she's acting alone. Because that's what everyone was wondering. Was this woman simply a lone individual battling mental health issues? Or was she part of something larger, a coordinated attempt to get close to Meghan, Harry, or Archie? Some security experts were concerned about copycats. An incident like this can embolden others, said a former royal protection officer who spoke to a London newspaper. It sends a message that it's possible to get right up to the gates. That's dangerous. Inside the Montecito mansion, Harry and Meghan listened as the head of security outlined worst-case scenarios. A stalker scaling the walls. Someone posing as a delivery driver. A drone carrying a hidden camera or worse. An intruder trying to access the property disguised as media or a contractor. Harry pressed his lips together tightly as he absorbed each possibility. "I want patrols on every side of the house," he said. "And I want eyes on Archie and Lily at all times." Meghan nodded, her expression hard. "Check the staff," she added. "Make sure no one's leaking information." Because there was another fear lurking in the back of Meghan's mind, that someone inside the operation might be feeding details to the press, or worse, to people like the woman at the gate. Montecito, for all its wealth and beauty, isn't a fortress. It's a community. Neighbors wave as they jog past. Gardeners chat over hedges. Word travels fast. The Sussexes were painfully aware that even one seemingly harmless conversation could spiral into a rumor, or worse, become fodder for someone looking to exploit their family. Within hours, the Sussex security team coordinated with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. Deputies agreed to increase patrols in the surrounding streets. Local law enforcement also began investigating the woman, trying to piece together her movements before she appeared at the gates. "Did she stay at a local hotel?" one deputy asked. "Did she drive straight here from out of state? Was anyone with her?" They started scanning license plate cameras along Highway 101, tracing the routes into Montecito. The goal was to find out how long she'd been in the area and whether she'd scouted the house in advance. Meanwhile, neighbors were left stunned by the spectacle. "This is the kind of place where people keep to themselves," said one local shop owner. "We all know Harry and Meghan live here, but most people try not to make a fuss. Then suddenly there's a woman screaming about being Archie's mom. It's insane." The gossip spread quickly through the community. Local group chats buzzed with speculation. Some people worried about safety. Others were just fascinated. "I saw helicopters flying low over the Sussex house," said one Montecito resident. "Then I heard someone was trying to take their kid. I mean, what the hell?" As news outlets picked up the story, paparazzi began swarming the area again, eager for new photos of Meghan, Harry, or even just the gates where the drama had unfolded. Photographers parked vans on side streets, long lenses poking through tinted windows. Harry and Meghan's team responded swiftly. A new perimeter was established around the property to keep cameras farther back. Private security vehicles began slowly cruising nearby streets to deter lingering photographers. But it wasn't only physical security they had to worry about. Inside the mansion, the Sussex's digital security team got to work. They scoured the internet for any mention of the woman's identity, checking whether she'd posted threats online or connected with conspiracy groups. A digital security expert explained the stakes. When someone shows up making claims like this, the worry is that they're part of an online network. Maybe she was encouraged by other people who believe conspiracy theories about Meghan and Harry. You have to trace her digital footprint fast.